maayong udto, maayong buntag, maayong adlaw. Wherever you may be watching this, I'd like to say good day to all of you. I would like to greet also all of those that are watching us in the other provinces, in the entire country, as well as in the other countries of the world. We often get feedback from those that are also closely monitoring the developments here in Cebu province as well as here in one Cebu island. And I know that I have just recently signed an executive order that has caused a whirlwind of reaction throughout the entire country. I would like to repeat and repeat the pertinent portions of this executive order, which I signed yesterday and which took effect immediately. This was signed on the 8th day of June 2022 at the Cebu Provincial Capital. Executive Order number 16, rationalizing the wearing of face masks within Cebu. Rationalizing, what does that mean? Well, in simple terms, to put some reason, some sense, some common sense, logic in the wearing of face masks in the province of Cebu. So may I please emphasize, those of you that are now experiencing convulsions or violent reactions in other parts of the country, it does not apply to your city or to your province, except in the province of Cebu. And perhaps the best persons that should react should be the Cebuanos themselves, because it still doesn't apply to you if you are against it. If you are for it, maybe you can always look at Cebu as a model. So, rationalizing the wearing of face masks within Cebu, the pertinent portions would be: we shall only require face masks in closed and or air-conditioned places or spaces. However, in well-ventilated and open spaces, the use of face masks shall be optional. That's the key word. We are not saying do not use. We are, however, saying it's your choice. If you wish to continue wearing the face mask in well-ventilated and open spaces, what do I mean? If you go to the sea and wish to breathe in the sea air, well, it's up to you if you wish to continue wearing a face mask. You see, sometimes face masks are also very useful, especially when you want to cover the rest of your face. If you think that the rest of your face should not be open for public viewing, that's fine. We understand. We will understand your insecurity. But those that would wish to breathe in pure oxygen, the more beneficial sea air that in fact has been proven to be good for your lungs, then please, let us not bring the wearing of face masks to ridiculous levels. So that I just read a report somewhere that you could only take off the face mask when you're eating. So that means when you're showering, you also have to wear your face mask. Or when you're sleeping, you also have to wear your face mask. So, in well-ventilated and open spaces, the wearing of face masks shall be optional. It shall be a matter of choice. However, in crowded, in outdoor areas, when there are many people, it is highly encouraged to wear the face mask. But still, it is not a requirement. It is highly encouraged. Those with symptoms, those who are unwell, fever, cough, or runny nose, are required to wear the mask at all times. I read some reactions. That's the trouble when you do not completely read the report. There was one knee-jerk reaction that said, No more wearing of face mask. What is it? You know, they sneeze so loudly in the buses. They are coughing and in the buses. What will happen to us? Hello? Sa madanang bus, open, ventilated, or air conditioned? Pagklaro diha. Please do not render violent reactions unless you have already completely read and understood the story or the report. So, I know that a lot of Manila media have been calling me, wishing for me to answer, give in to their request for interviews. I beg your indulgence for my not having given the interviews. I found it better to face the local media with this on a live video feed with our own recordings, so that I could also immediately answer face to face. Whether you want to wear your face mask or not, at least it's face to face. So that is the long and short of it. I just wish to further add that other countries have also already scrapped the face mask rule in open spaces. Aside from Singapore and the US and the United Kingdom, you also have, to mention a few, Hungary, Ireland, Romania, Poland, Norway, Netherlands, the Czech Republic, Israel, and Middle East countries as well. So it is not that we are following the rest. It is that we believe it's about time that we rationalize and put some common sense in the wearing of face masks. First of all, we all know very well that wearing of face masks 24 hours a day is not good for your health. But it's good for the economic health of those that still have a lot of face masks to sell. I noticed that some of the violent reactions came from those that probably have invested on face masks. Nga, daghan pa'y nabilin, nga ibabaligya pa. But on the other hand, the reactions of so many have been, "Hay, salamat. Thank God. Now, I don't need to budget for face masks." So, furthermore, you know, we are just formalizing what is actually already happening. We've had huge crowds during rallies in the last campaign. Was anybody checking if they were all wearing face masks? And if it is a requirement indeed. Here in the province of Cebu, I have forbidden the imposition of fines. Why? Because imposing fines for those that are not wearing face masks are anti-poor. As I said, more often than not, those that are caught not wearing face masks are those that are walking, riding a bike, because those in their air-conditioned cars with their tinted windows would not be caught. And 300, 500 pesos that you extract from a poor guy who's just trying to make a living would already mean what? 5, 6, 8 kilos, 10 kilos of rice to feed his family. Furthermore, come on, is that really receipted for every apprehension and you extract a fine? It's room for corruption. You know, I'm not saying all, but those that may be tasked to apprehend these people, you apprehend 10, you collect what? 10 times 500, 5,000? How much will you turn over? Pila may tugan nimo? The exact 5,000 or just 1,000? How do you measure the accountability? So, here in the province of Cebu, I had already stated, and it is in my executive order, that there shall be no fines for those not wearing face masks. Instead, give them face masks at that time. So, this executive order further defines when face masks should be used. not when you're in open, well-ventilated areas. You go up to the mountains, you want to wear a face mask? You deprive your body, yourself, of breathing in fresh air and oxygen. As I've always been saying, look, you keep breathing back the carbon dioxide that you breathe out. You have less and less oxygen. And I've seen so many who religiously follow the face mask rule, even perhaps when they are sleeping and when they're under the shower. They are full of pimples now. I know of one very pretty lady. She was here with me in a meeting. I had always seen her with a face mask, but when she took it off to drink, that's allowed now under DOH. You can only take it off when you drink or eat. Lo and behold, her cheeks were full of pimples, and she did not look that way before. So perhaps because there are impurities in these face masks, they clog up your pores. But it's optional. There are those that are also complaining, by the way. I was reading the comments. There are those that are complaining why I have made it optional. Because according to them, now, if they take off the face mask, their flat nose and their ugly face will now finally be revealed. So it's optional. You can continue to cover your flat nose and your ugly face. Questions?
The DILG said that they will not honor the executive order and will ask the police to apprehend those.
Ah, yeah? Which DILG?
Secretary.
Oh, that's up to him. I think he's going out na, di ba? But we will see. If they, in the province of Cebu, there is no apprehension. I have already said, you do not apprehend, nor do you fine. Give them face masks. Second, I am now invoking Section 105, which has specifically stated that the Secretary of Health can only define the health protocols of a particular local government unit for 6 months. It's been 2 years. And I am ready now to test that. Local autonomy must prevail, especially since it is us who know what our situation here is. I'm not comparing myself with cramped up Luzon, with all of those provinces, some of which do not have coastlines. We are an island here. We have fresh sea air. Most of our towns and most of our cities are coastal. IATF is a creation by presidential decree, which directly puts the Secretary of Health as a co-chair. This was done early 2020. It's been over 6 months. And if I may notice, it seems that there has been no consultation with the local government units, for that matter. I call upon all the leagues, the city, municipal, and even the League of Provinces to remember that Republic Act 7160 was specifically passed by Congress. My father was one of its authors. Primarily to recognize local autonomy, which is enshrined in the Constitution. So, I do not craft policy out of some capricious whim. Each and every decision is anchored upon existing laws, and more importantly, upon keen observation of the situation of my constituents here in Cebu, because I am accountable to them. I was elected by 1.4 million Cebuanos in this recent election. And so I answer to 1,478,436 Cebuanos. I am accountable for this mandate, and I must at all times decide in accordance with the greater good for the greater number. About time somebody says it. It's the elephant in the room. Look around. We are just formalizing what is actually happening. People are taking off their masks. Are you catching? So now that the ALG says the police will now apprehend, you did not apprehend these people who were massing up in the rallies of BBM, of Lenny, and all of this. And now suddenly you do an about face because what na kampanya? We are just recognizing, and I probably am the first courageous one to say it. The public is sick and tired of these face masks. Especially when it's already unreasonable to be wearing it in wide open, ventilated areas. We all know, ventilation is key. And yet we continue to insist. Why did you not insist? Why did the DILG not instruct the PNP, ABS-CBN, to apprehend all those that attended rallies who were not wearing face masks? Or all those who stood by the roadsides in hundreds of thousands for the caravans not wearing face masks? And now suddenly you direct the PNP to apprehend those not wearing face masks because of my executive order? So were they sleeping during the time of the campaign? And now they've suddenly awakened because mana election? I am just formalizing what is already being practiced. That is why I said I am rationalizing it. Why? Because the PNP do not know what to do. If they suddenly make arrests at this time, then they will be put to task to explain why they never made arrests during the campaigns. So you start making arrests because of an executive order, and you do not arrest the hundreds of thousands that milled around during rallies because there was no executive order, in spite of the fact that they were not wearing masks. I'm just hoping that the 2-year period where some self-anointed authorities enjoyed such dictatorial tendencies will finally realize that people are sick and tired of all of these restrictions that have reached a point of ridiculousness and idiocy. COVID fatigue na mga tao. You keep talking about mabalik ang COVID. Are you actually hoping? Is that a prayer so that you will become relevant again? And you will now become the authority again? Remember, people can only take so much. Their patience can only be at a certain level. You have to understand their situations. And I am not speaking for the privileged few that can afford even breathing masks like Darth Vader, which cost thousands. I am speaking for the many, many more who have to budget out of their meager salary so much for face masks. Have you seen them? These so-called Manila people who craft policies. Have you seen the people walking around with very dirty face masks because they can no longer afford to purchase one new mask a day? There was this great debate regarding whether we should really purchase that kind of mask or whether cloth masks were possible. And some experts, cloth mask is not good because it does not completely shut out all the microns and all the germs and the bacteria and the virus, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because, wow, taking this as a sacred duty to above all hold paramount the good of the greater number, not the few selfish interests of those that would stand to gain with the continued restrictions and continued use of face masks even in open, well-ventilated areas. Daghan kaayong salamat.